Ever feel like maybe some people are just, I don't know, born to be leaders? Like they've got this leadership gene or something?
Yeah.
Or like you go to one of those leadership conferences and
Right.
it's all inspiring and stuff, but then like nothing really changes.
Right.
So today we're diving into this thing called the law of process
Okay.
from John Maxwell's book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. We're going to figure out why just going to a conference or reading a book
Yeah.
doesn't automatically make you a great leader.
Definitely.
We're using this YouTube video from Maxwell Leadership Insights to help break it down
Sounds good.
and get ready for some serious aha moments.
This could be good. That whole born leader thing you mentioned,
Yeah.
that really gets to the core of this law, I think. Like, it shows how much we all want that quick fix, that shortcut to success, you know?
It's like we're searching for that magic formula.
Exactly.
One secret ingredient that'll
Yeah.
just make us awesome leaders instantly.
Right. But Maxwell, he actually uses humor to address this question in the video.
Oh, really?
He says, of course leaders are born. Have you ever met an unborn leader? It's funny, but it makes you think, right?
Yeah, it does. It's like he's messing with us a little,
Right.
but also making us question that idea that some people are just destined to lead
Yeah.
while others aren't.
What people are really asking is if some people just have a natural advantage, you know, like they're predisposed to leadership.
Okay.
And to get this point across, Maxwell uses a really interesting analogy.
I love a good analogy. Lay it on me.
He compares leadership leanings to musical leanings.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. Some people are just naturally drawn to music. They could pick up an instrument and just
Oh.
play. They've got a good ear for melody.
Yeah.
It just comes easily.
So are you saying that people who aren't naturally musical can never learn?
Of course not.
Yeah.
It's the same with leadership. Even if someone isn't born with a, like, leadership inclination,
Yeah.
they can still develop those skills over time.
I see.
And that is what the law of process is all about. It's not about some leadership gene.
Got it.
It's about that journey, that ongoing process of growing and improving.
Okay. So Maxwell also says people tend to overestimate the impact of events.
Oh, yeah.
Like attending a leadership conference, for example,
Right.
while underestimating the importance of the actual process itself.
Yes.
Can you, like, unpack that a bit? What does he mean by that?
Well, think of events like conferences as like a burst of inspiration, you know?
Okay, yeah.
They can be really motivating and insightful in the moment,
Yeah,
but that impact can fade pretty quickly if you don't nurture it.
makes sense.
They're usually driven by decisions planned on a calendar,
Yeah.
and it can be hard to actually integrate what you learn into your everyday life.
So they're like a quick shot of energy,
Yeah,
but not necessarily long-lasting change.
right. Process, on the other hand, is about consistent, deliberate effort over time. It's about developing your skills
Right.
within a culture that actually supports your growth.
So it's more like a steady climb
Yes.
rather than a quick trip to the top.
Perfect analogy. The helicopter ride might be exhilarating,
Sure.
but it's the climb that really builds your strength and resilience.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of an event,
Absolutely.
but the real work happens every day in those consistent actions.
Maxwell actually says, quote, "The event is easy, the process is difficult. It's easy to sign up for a workshop
Right.
or buy a leadership book,
Mhm.
but actually putting those principles into practice every single day,
Oh.
week after week, year after year, that's the hard part."
It's like New Year's resolutions, right?
Exactly.
Making the resolution is easy. It's an event.
It is.
Sticking with it, building new habits, that's the process.
And that's where the transformation happens.
But why does leadership have to be a process? Why can't someone just learn a few key skills and call it a day?
Well, that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
Leadership isn't just one set of skills.
Right.
It's not a recipe you can just follow.
Okay.
As Maxwell says, leadership is multifaceted. It's a whole bunch of different qualities and abilities
Yeah.
all working together.
So it's not just about barking orders or having a fancy title.
Nope, not at all. In the video, Maxwell talks about this young guy who comes up to him after a lecture, all eager to learn about leadership.
Okay.
And the guy asks, "What's the one thing I need to know about leadership?"
He wants the cheat sheet.
Yeah, like he's looking for a shortcut, that one magic solution.
A Cliff's Notes version of leadership.
Exactly. And Maxwell calls that fast food leadership.
Fast food leadership. I like that.
You want it quick, easy, no effort.
Right.
But real leadership development takes time, just like making a delicious meal from scratch. You can't just microwave leadership.
Okay, so you've got me intrigued. What are some of these facets of leadership that make it so, well, multifaceted?
Well, Maxwell breaks leadership down into different areas.
Okay.
Things like influence, navigation, empowerment, relationships,
Right.
time management, momentum, sacrifice, attitude,
Whoa, that's a lot.
and the list goes on. Each one needs its own set of skills and understanding.
I see.
It's not about mastering one thing.
Got it.
It's about developing a whole range of qualities.
Oh, and using them in different situations.
Exactly.
Let's dig into a couple of those a little deeper so our listeners can really see how this works.
Sure.
Let's start with influence and navigation.
Okay, great. Think of influence as the ability to inspire and motivate others towards a shared goal. It's about building trust,
Yeah.
credibility, so people want to follow you, not because they have to,
Mm-hmm.
but because they believe in your vision.
Okay, and navigation is like being the map maker.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're guiding your team through challenges, anticipating obstacles, making course corrections, and keeping everyone moving in the right direction.
Even when things are uncertain. So it's like you're the captain of a ship. You're navigating through rough waters, keeping your crew on course. But it's not just knowing the route.
Right.
It's also about inspiring your crew to trust you
Yes.
and weather the storm together.
That's a great way to put it. Now, imagine trying to master both of those, influence and navigation,
Yeah.
in a single workshop,
Yeah.
or by reading one chapter in a book.
Yeah, that doesn't seem realistic.
It takes time, practice, experience.
Makes sense.
You have to be committed to developing those skills.
So I'm starting to see why this whole process thing is so important.
Good.
But sometimes I think we assume that only people in, official leadership positions need to worry about this stuff. How does the law of process apply to someone who's not in a formal leadership role?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
This isn't just for CEOs or managers.
Right.
It's for anyone who wants to grow and develop their leadership potential, no matter what their job title is.
I like that.
Because leadership isn't about your position, it's about influence.
True.
We all have the capacity to lead and influence others in our own lives, whether it's at work, with our families, or in our communities.
So even if you're not the CEO of a company, you can still be a leader.
Absolutely.
But how do you actually cultivate those leadership skills if you're not in a formal leadership role?
Well, Maxwell uses another great analogy in the video to explain this.
Oh, I love his analogies. Hit me.
He talks about developing an NFL quarterback.
Okay. Yeah.
He says that even a rookie quarterback with tons of natural talent
Right.
can't just walk onto the field and become a Super Bowl champion overnight.
You need time to develop.
Exactly. They need to develop their skills, learn the playbook,
Yeah.
study the game, understand the team dynamics,
Uh-huh.
build relationships with their teammates, and gain experience under pressure.
And a good coach to guide them.
Absolutely. And it's the same with leadership development. You can't just microwave a leader.
Microwave a leader. I love that.
Throwing someone into a leadership position without the right preparation is like sending that rookie quarterback out there with zero training.
Yikes. Recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And that leads to what Maxwell calls the Pop-Tart leader, right? Someone who's rushed through the process and lacks the substance to lead effectively.
And resilience.
I think we've all worked with a few Pop-Tart leaders in our time.
Probably. You know, those people who have the title,
Yeah?
but they haven't actually developed the qualities they need to lead well. They might fall apart under pressure, make impulsive decisions,
Right.
or have trouble inspiring their team.
And that leaves their team feeling lost and frustrated.
Exactly. And that's why Maxwell pushes for what he calls crockpot leadership.
Crockpot leadership. Okay, I'm all ears. What's that all about?
It's all about slow, steady development over time. Like those amazing meals that simmer for hours, letting the flavors meld.
I get.
It's about giving leaders the time and space they need to learn from their experiences, develop their skills, and really cultivate the qualities that will make them effective.
So it's not about rushing the results.
Exactly. It's about embracing the process.
It makes you wonder, what are the ingredients you need to put into that crock pot
That's a great question.
to develop truly effective leaders?
And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait.
We'll talk about those essential ingredients for leadership development
Awesome.
and how to cultivate them through continuous growth and improvement.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back. So we've established that leadership is more like a slow-cooked stew than, a microwaved meal.
Right.
But what exactly are the key ingredients for that leadership crock pot?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
What makes a leader really stand out?
Yeah.
Well, one of the most important things is character. It's about who you are as a person.
Okay.
The foundation for everything you do as a leader.
So it's more than just being charismatic or a good speaker.
Oh, yeah. It's about having a strong moral compass.
I see.
Think of it like this character is the basis for trust.
Makes sense.
People need to believe in your integrity,
Mm-hmm.
your honesty,
Mm-hmm.
your values.
They need to know you'll keep your promises.
Exactly. That you'll be fair,
Right.
that you'll put their needs before your own ego.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that means taking responsibility for your actions, admitting when you're wrong,
Yeah.
and treating everyone with respect, even when you disagree.
It also means having the guts to make tough decisions, even when they're unpopular.
That's right. Courage is another crucial ingredient in our crock pot.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Leaders often have to make hard choices, sometimes with limited information and a lot of pressure.
That's true.
I've definitely seen that. Sometimes the easy decision is the wrong one.
Yep. It takes courage to stand up for what's right,
Yeah,
even when it's risky, and to bounce back from setbacks.
sure.
Because, no leader is perfect.
We all mess up sometimes.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's how we respond to those setbacks that matters.
Right.
That's where resilience comes in.
Okay.
It's about learning from your failures, adapting to change,
Mm-hmm.
and getting back up when you get knocked down.
So having grit, that determination to succeed, even when things are tough.
Exactly. And it's about fostering that same resilience in your team, helping them develop that ability to overcome obstacles.
Yeah. Because leadership isn't just about your own resilience. It's about creating that culture of resilience in your team.
Right. It's like you're building a team of warriors ready for anything.
Love it.
Yeah.
So we've got character, courage, resilience. What else goes in this leadership crockpot?
Another essential ingredient is vision. Leaders need to be able to see the big picture,
Okay.
to paint a picture of the future that inspires their team.
So it's about more than just setting goals.
Yes, it's about creating a shared sense of purpose.
Something everyone can get behind.
Exactly. It's about showing what's possible,
Right.
creating that shared purpose,
Yep.
and making sure everyone's efforts are aligned.
Like you're a lighthouse,
Yeah.
guiding your team through the fog toward a brighter future.
I like that. And to do that effectively, you need another key ingredient: communication.
Communication. Makes sense.
Leaders need to articulate their vision in a way that connects with their team,
Mm-hmm.
on an emotional level, and inspires them to take action.
So it's not just about what you say.
Right.
It's how you say it.
Being authentic, transparent, relatable.
And listening. Great leaders are great listeners.
Oh, for sure.
They seek out different perspectives, they value input from their team,
Yeah.
and they're willing to adjust based on feedback.
So recognizing that you don't have all the answers,
Exactly.
and that the best solutions often come from collaboration.
That ties into another crucial ingredient: humility.
Humility. Okay.
Great leaders are humble, they know their limitations, they're open to learning from others,
Right.
and they give credit where credit is due.
It's about understanding that leadership isn't about ego.
It's about serving others,
Exactly.
empowering them to be their best.
And that brings us back to the law of process. Developing these qualities: character, courage, resilience, vision, communication, humility.
Wow, that's a lot.
It takes time and effort
Yeah.
and a commitment to continuous growth.
It's not something you can just download overnight.
Definitely not. It's a journey.
Right. It's about learning from your experiences and constantly trying to be better.
Exactly. But I get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can feel overwhelming,
For sure.
thinking about developing all these qualities.
But where do you even start?
Maxwell actually talks about that feeling of overwhelm in the video.
Really?
He tells this story about this young man who really wants to learn about leadership.
Okay.
And he asks, what's the one thing I need to know?
Yes, the magic bullet.
Right. And Maxwell points out there isn't just one thing. Effective leadership is about so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And each one takes effort and a willingness to learn.
So instead of searching for that one quick fix,
Yeah.
we should focus on those daily actions that contribute to our growth.
Small incremental improvements every day.
I like that.
Building on your strengths, working on your weaknesses,
Yeah.
and developing those qualities that will make you a better leader.
So that's where the crock-pot leadership idea comes in.
Exactly. Think of it like actually using a crock pot.
Okay.
You combine all these different ingredients,
Right.
you let them simmer, and you create a flavorful, balanced dish.
I love that.
Leadership development is the same. You're combining qualities, experiences, learning opportunities over time
Yeah.
to create a well-rounded leader.
So what are some practical steps we can take to, like, start crockpotting our leadership?
That's a great question, and it's one we'll tackle in the final part of our deep dive.
Perfect.
We'll talk about specific actions you can take to apply the law of process every day,
Awesome.
whether you're a CEO or just starting out on your leadership journey.
Okay, so we've talked about all these great leadership qualities,
Yeah.
simmering away in our leadership crockpot. But I'm curious, how do we actually apply this law of process, like in real life?
Right, right. What can we do starting today to develop those qualities?
Exactly.
Well, the main thing to remember is that it's all about consistency. It's not about like making these huge changes all at once.
Right.
It's about small daily things that add up over time.
I've heard that, like, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.
Exactly. It's those small actions that
Yeah.
when you do them consistently,
Yeah.
they can lead to big growth.
So what are some examples of those small things we can start doing every day?
Well, one thing Maxwell really emphasizes is reading.
Reading. Okay.
Even just 15 minutes a day reading about leadership
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
I can definitely do that. I always feel so inspired after reading about successful leaders.
It's like feeding your mind with knowledge and insights.
Yeah.
Right. And don't forget about reflection.
Reflection. Okay.
Taking a few minutes each day to think about your interactions,
Mm-hmm.
how you handled things, what you could have done differently.
That's so true. It's easy to just go through the day without really thinking about it.
Right.
But taking a minute to reflect can help us improve.
It's like watching game footage after a game, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You see what worked, what didn't,
Right.
figure out how to adjust your strategy. Speaking of learning from others, mentorship is huge.
Oh, yeah. I've always found mentors to be so helpful.
Having someone you look up to who can guide you, it can make all the difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Finding a mentor who embodies those qualities you admire
Yes.
and learning from their experience.
It's like having a guide leading you along the path.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be formal mentorship either.
that's true.
It could just be connecting with someone you admire
Right.
and asking for advice.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask for feedback from others,
Oh, yeah. Feedback.
even from people you lead.
Okay.
It shows you're humble and willing to learn.
I think sometimes we avoid feedback because we're afraid of criticism. But constructive feedback is so important for growth.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
helps you see your blind spots. And it creates this culture of feedback
Right.
where everyone feels safe sharing their thoughts. Another thing you can do is actually look for opportunities to lead.
Even if you're not in a leadership position.
Yes. You can volunteer for projects, take initiative,
Yeah.
step outside your comfort zone.
The more you do it, the better you get.
Exactly. And it's not about having a fancy title. It's about taking ownership and leading from wherever you are.
Love that. But what if you're, like, putting in the effort
Yeah.
but not seeing results right away?
It's important to remember that it's a process. It takes time and consistent effort.
So, like planting a seed, right? You
Right.
nurture it, water it, give it sunlight, and
Yeah.
eventually it grows.
Patience and persistence. Trust the process. Stay committed. Keep looking for opportunities
Yeah.
and celebrate those small wins along the way.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into John Maxwell's law of process,
Uh-huh.
what's the one key takeaway for our listeners?
The most important thing. Leadership is a journey, not a destination. It's about always growing, always developing. It's about those qualities we talked about.
Right. Character, courage, resilience.
Yes, vision, communication, humility. It's about taking action consistently and trusting that those efforts will pay off.
And remembering that leadership isn't just for people with certain job titles.
It's something we can all strive for in our own way.
This has been such an insightful deep dive into the law of process.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us today. And to our listeners, remember, leadership is a journey. Embrace it and enjoy the ride.